I don't know if I ever decided it. I just knew it was in me that it's what I was going to do. I can't, my childhood was here with my grandparents, my sisters, they worked in the hayfield. I couldn't imagine another life for myself, quite honestly. I didn't know anything else and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Hey, I'm Shay Keister, and I'm your host for the Casual Cattle Conversation podcast, where we talk about all things related to ranching by connecting you to peer ranchers and industry leaders to improve the profitability of your operation and your lifestyle. Now, if you are looking for a community of ranchers, sign up for my monthly RancherMind events. RancherMind events are mastermind events for ranchers. You join a Zoom link and you sit down and have a conversation with other ranchers and industry leaders about specific topics that help you improve your operation and face the challenges that we face as an industry as a whole. Now, if you want immediate ranch management advice, go to my website, casualcattleconversations.com/newsletter, and sign up. When you sign up, I will send you a free PDF with 22 ranch management tips from the ranching gurus who have been on my show and poured out their knowledge for all to hear. With that, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram by following Cattle Convos. You can connect with me there, or you can go to my website, casualcattleconversations.com, to find anything you may need. I'm excited to meet you. Okay, so thank you for being on the show today. I am excited to have you both on here and to share about your operation and this mother-daughter dynamic duo that you have going on, or that I've heard about. But to start off, I want to kind of start off with a fun or unique question. So I would like each of you to share 3 words that describe your operation.
Cows, water, and challenges. Cows being black Angus, they seem to have less health issues when it comes to the udders and the pink eye. The water, we have a river that runs by the ranch, a pond, a lake, and several creeks. So water isn't an issue. Challenges are the beavers keep damming up the lake so it can't drain, so it floods back on the meadows. Trees fall on the fences can be a challenge. Creeks flood out because they seem to move a lot of sand where we do live in the Sandhills. So that's some of the challenges that I seem to deal with every day, or both of us.
For my 3 words, I guess Mom kind of touched on some of it with productivity. I think our ranch, for as small as it is, it's not one of the bigger ranches in the area, but I think that it does hold its own with a lot of alfalfa. We're lucky enough to get 2 to 3 cuttings off of alfalfa, sometimes aftergrowth on the meadows for grazing. My second word, I guess I chose forgiving. In the drought years such as this, the meadows really seem to carry us rather than our upland hay, and we can get into those low areas that we normally can't get into in wet or average years, and it makes feed maybe not the best, but it does do something for us. And for my final word, I guess when I think of this place, I always think of the legacy that it holds, what we want to continue on in the further generations, what my grandpa started, and how we want to carry on his legacy and our own.
Wow, those are all great answers, and that makes me excited to continue asking you more questions throughout this interview process. And Jodi, since you kind of ended with legacy, I'd really like to hear the history of your ranch. You said, what your grandpa started. So what is the history of your operation? How did that start, and how has that progressed today?
I'll let her answer that one.
Our legacy started, my dad, when he got married, he lived north of Atkinson, Nebraska, and then farming started to come into that area, and he did not want to be a farmer. His dream was being a rancher. This ranch came up for sale in about 1953, and so I was 2 years old when we moved here. I'm the only daughter of 4 brothers. And we moved on the ranch here. And I remember a lot of willows. There wasn't much for meadows as I was growing up. We did a lot of work of cleaning the willows off the meadows to make the meadows bigger. And then my dad rented a lot of pasture locally throughout the years. And then he managed to buy some adjoining acres, adjoining the ranch. He managed to buy that to make our ranch bigger. And then later on in the 80s, he bought some land over at Mills, Nebraska, which carries probably about 65 to 70 head of cows. And then he passed away. Then he asked me to come back to the ranch and help him, even though I had other jobs, working at Sale Barn in Bassett and Sale Barn Atkinson, and I worked part-time at a welding shop. And so he asked me to come back to the ranch because I was already helping him part-time, and I had cattle here also. And so I came back, and from there, we just kind of kept expanding the ranch. And then when he passed away in 2003, the land that we was renting for 45 years plus came up for sale. And my mom was still here, and we took care of her also. And I had the opportunity to buy some of that land. So I purchased it, and then Jodi had the opportunity to buy part of it also. So she bought some of the acres too. And that expanded our ranch. And from there, we just kind of looked for ways to make the ranch better. We did a lot of different things in cross fencing, putting in water lines, rotational grazing. And my dad's dream was to make the ranch better and improve it. So we've worked very hard trying to make the meadows larger. So that's some of the ways that, we're trying to improve the ranch from generation to generation. That's one of our goals.
Well, I love to hear that. And I think improvement is key to being able to pass it down to the next generation. So Jodi, what has your involvement looked like on the ranch? I mean, from growing up to when did you decide to come back and continue living out this lifestyle for yourself in this business?
I don't know if I ever decided it. I just knew it was in me that it's what I was going to do. My childhood was here with my grandparents, my sisters, they worked in the hayfield. I couldn't imagine another life for myself, quite honestly. I didn't know anything else, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
So is it just you two on the operation right now, or what does this look like from a labor standpoint, from a health standpoint? What does that kind of look like for you as you manage this?
You're looking at it. Yes, it is just us. Like, we have family come like for branding, and my fiance, he'll come down to help us do some more cattle work, the bigger days of like AIing and bringing cattle home from grass or taking them out to grass. We're actually in the process of combining both of our operations, which is a challenge within itself. But for the most part, it's just her and I. We just got done putting up a hay quarter over the weekend. So it's just us.
Hey folks, let's hear from our friends at Neogen. You are working to preserve the ground for the next generation. Shouldn't your cow herd be built for the future too? Neogen is the industry leader in beef cattle genomic testing. They are proud to have brought the first genomic profile to the market, and this is called Identity Beef. Identity Beef is a genomic test that provides commercial cattle producers easy to understand data to make genomic selections to advance their herd with each generation. Identity Beef is designed for crossbred commercial cattle, utilizing the herd's very own DNA to predict genetic merit in your herd. Identity Beef provides 17 critical traits on a 1 through 10 scale that aids in selection and management of commercial females and provide marketing opportunities to build your herd for the next generation. To learn more about how Identity Beef can aid you in selection, management, and marketing opportunities of each calf crop and your herd, go to neogen.com or call 877-443-6489. Again, that is neogen.com. What would you say has been, there's challenges every day in ranching. So it's hard to pick one. But what would you say are some of those big challenges you faced with some of these generational transitions and making these transitions on your ranch? What are some of those main challenges that you've overcome together?
One of the main challenges when my dad passed away in 2003, we put up haystacks with a farmhand loader and a 42-foot dump rake. And I had to change that operation because I knew, and my dad informed me that I couldn't run that farmhand because he free-handed put up the stacks. So it was a challenge to go from haystacks to acquiring a baler, rakes, and the equipment we needed to make that transition and to switch over to a different way of haying that I grew up with. But I never knew how to run a baler, but it's all things that with a little time and a few mistakes here and there that we managed to get through it.
Well, awesome. Jodi, what would you say is, one of the challenges that you two have worked through and overcome together with these transitions?
As far as the transitions between one generation to the next, what for us on our end, our experience would, I guess, understanding each other's roles, like knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses, where maybe I might not be good at one thing and she might be good at it, and just reversing that and finding where we both can work and be productive at the same time.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you two, started with a commercial operation, but are slowly transitioning into the seed stock world, correct?
Yep.
So what kind of sparked that idea to transition from commercial to the registered industry?
I guess for me, it started out with realizing there was a lot of bulls out there that I liked, but I couldn't afford. And then I saw so many maybe not so great bulls sell way above what I would have thought I would have paid for in my own personal thought. And I'm not trying to offend anybody or anything, but I just thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to just create it yourself? And I was fortunate enough to get my hands on some registered first calvers, and it just kind of grew from there. I had a loan from FSA to expand my cow herd, and I used that loan and I took advantage of the low cattle market during that fall. And I did get some registered females. I got we started working on some AIing. We got that going, and it's been a really fun process. It hasn't been easy learning everything, because once I got one thing figured out, I find out I sure don't. But it's been fun, and it's really fulfilling to see your home raised bull out in the pasture breeding your own cows.
So with that, do you have any mentors that you specifically look to, or what resources have you used or people have you gone to help you make that transition? Because it is quite the change and can be a challenge in itself.
I guess we spoke to Corey Austrian a lot. That's where I got my first set of females from. A lot of what I've learned is just being a cattleman. Just throughout the years of purchasing cattle, you kind of know some things, and maybe you sometimes don't know a lot when the tables are turned and you become a producer for registered cattle. But we just, a lot of reading online is what I've done. I've spoke to a lot of maybe people my age too as well to see what their thoughts were. Older people, I guess, local people, see what they look for in bulls and maybe what they look for in females. Going to sales, seeing people and meeting them and discussing all ideas and thoughts with them has been a lot of help.
Well, that's exciting. So with that, are you really, I mean, what are your dreams on like the registered side of it? What are your dreams for your operation as you continue to grow?
For the registered cows, we run them just like we do the commercial. They don't get special treatment. They get culled the same, and that's how you should have your bulls and your animals that you're using to breed. Like you shouldn't have them be special treated just because they're registered. So we don't do that. I guess the goals would be to continue that and to keep growing the registered herd. And I don't know if we've ever really want to sell registered bulls. There's a lot of people who do sell registered bulls out there, and some are registered and some aren't, and there's just too much competition, and there's really good operations out there as well. If anything, I think it would be cool to sell maybe some registered females, an elite group of registered females that have had generations, that have gone through all the cuts. They've been treated just the same as a commercial cow. That's what the commercial producer wants.
Okay. So I kind of want to hear your mom's perspective on this, just as the older generation on the ranch. What has it been like to see your daughter making these changes and be a part of these changes that she's really excited about?
I'm excited for her to make the changes. We do make decisions together here. We discuss it, the issues, the pros and cons of making decisions. And I believe that you have to let the younger generation have an input and a say to make the next, so the next generation, which would be her, carry on. Because, nothing's set in stone that it has to be done this way because this is the way we did it all these years. So I believe that there's changes that are good in every operation, and you've got to let the next generation have their say because there's changes. I mean, nothing stays the same.
Absolutely. So how have you two worked together to navigate shifting that decision-making process and making that transition where two of you are making decisions? I mean, what did that kind of look like from when Jodi came back to now?
Not sure how to answer that.
I think maybe there was some growing pains when I was younger, coming out of college, and that's with any operation. Now that I'm older, 9 times out of 10, we're probably making the same decision. I've learned from her. This is where I've grown up. I know how, when we sort cattle, it's just like butter. We can get more work done with just the two of us than a crew out there in the corral. And I always feel more comfortable with just the two of us.
Well, when you have a system that works, that's important to use it.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to add? Or I guess, what are you excited about for the future of the beef industry?
Well, for me, the future, I guess, it's been pretty grim for beef producers lately. But during the pandemic, I think a lot of consumers realized how important it is to purchase your meat directly from a producer, the rancher themselves. Like, it's out there. Maybe some didn't realize that they had the opportunity or the ability to do so, but they can do that, and they know where it's coming from. And I guess that was a little glimmer of hope for beef producers and ranchers. And a lot of people was able to find another avenue to sell their beef and market directly to the consumer without having to go through the middleman. So I guess that's what's kind of exciting to me looking forward into the future. Maybe people will start realizing that, and it'll be more of a trend to go directly to from the rancher to the consumer. I mean, how cool is it that we take an animal that eats grass and turn it into a sustainable protein for the world? I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. I'm always in awe over that every day. And I think more and more people are starting to see that as well.
Well, awesome. Do you have anything else you want to add, or any last comments for those listening who are either already in the beef industry or interested in learning more about it?
We're just happy to speak with you today. And I think that getting the word out there and discussing more and more with people to show them that, it's not we're not in it to make money. We're in it because we love the land and we love the animals. Do you have anything?
Well, I just feel like, we love the animals. We're in it because we're trying to carry the next generation on. And my thoughts are also, if there's any women out there that want to get into ranching or whatever, follow your dreams, follow your heart, and go for it.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much for being on the show today. I love all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on that one, folks. Thank you for tuning in today and joining in on the conversation. Be sure to take this a step further and take the advice you learned and implement it on your operation. If you want to have a conversation about it, head over to my social media and send me a DM by following @CattleConvos and connecting with me there. Have a great day.